It's the Brian White Show starring Randy Kirk. Oh, oh no, no, that's later. We do that. Oh, I'm so confused this morning. I already told you about all my confusion, and it has nothing to do with being old and senile. I keep telling
No.
myself.
So do the voices.
So the voices. Brian, sitting out on the road this morning down in some Tampa Bay or someplace. Is Tampa the one that's on? That's the one on the East Coast, right?
It's on the West Coast.
I'm sorry, the West Coast of
Yeah.
Florida. Have you had, I was in Tampa once. Have you had a chance to go to the beach?
No.
Have somebody take you to the beach. It's a shell beach. There's no sand. It is these pretty good sized broken up shells. Walking on it would rip your feet to pieces. It's super interesting. You should have somebody take you.
We call that exfoliating.
I say yes, that would definitely exfoliate. I can promise you it would exfoliate for sure. All right. Speaking of Tesla, report. I saw this. I thought it was an interesting report out this morning. Sawyer Merritt reporting the large quantities of wall chargers that are being installed in commercial settings worldwide, not just in the United States, but all over the world. Tesla now has a website page detailing how companies can make money on these chargers, or they can offer a nice promotion to give people a free charge. People while they're working, while they're getting a bite to eat, shopping, while they're sleeping overnight, all these places. Now, I've seen a few of those around for years, but looks like maybe they're putting a new effort into it. What do you think?
I think you caught me at the right time. The
Ah,
reason I go on the road is not just for the fun. It's not just for the fans. It's not just so I can try and play the did I get sunburnt game? And I did not. My sunscreen worked this time. It's so I can meet and talk to experts. I talked to Davin at Gulf Star Electric. I'm not going to show too much of his card because but I've got it right here. Davin is an electrician. He owns an electrical company that started by doing, we're going to focus on wall chargers for this new EV craze that's coming out. When Tesla went to certify installers, he got on the list. When their company started doing a lot of them, they became one of the preferred providers. So this company can do power walls, power share, home charging, but they can also do the other stuff. And he got to tell me about that. If you, for your location, would like to purchase a supercharger, you may purchase one to put on the network. You can
supercharger,
franchise it.
not just a regular charger, but
A
super.
a drop in four stall, increments of four stalls.
Wow.
If you want to pay for it, you can do that, and it can be installed. And Tesla takes 10 pennies on the kilowatt
Okay.
for the benefit of managing it on the network.
Right.
They sell it to you. You could put it at, 50 cents. Your power is probably going to be 15 to 20. If you're paying Tesla their 30 cents, you're making 20 cents a kilowatt hour. You could do that. The benefit for Tesla is that the network can expand in places where it may not be profitable for Tesla to focus first. And the benefit for you, of course, is that you can now have charging immediately within months instead of maybe never at your hotel, at your theme park, at your casino, at your restaurant, whatever it is, where you want Tesla people to congregate, you can draw them in now. You can be on the map and you can do it. And there's one more step to that. You or I could get a single stall level two commercial charger installed.
Hmm.
Why would I want a one stall level two charger? From Airbnb.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
that's really who it's aimed at, is for the Airbnb or single family rental. My tenants keep saying they want me to put in a charger. Fine, I'll put one in, but I'm going to make 10 cents on it.
Right.
And so that's an extra, $5 a week. Doesn't sound like much, but considering how cheap something like this is to install, it's very quick and easy. And, you know, and you wouldn't be doing it if it was only $5 a week, but if it's an Airbnb, it might be 20, $30 a week. Now you're talking couple $100 a year. makes more sense. You break even in a year or two, you're done. Very easy to do, and an added benefit that makes the property more valuable. So Tesla Energy, and I've met some of the Tesla Energy team. They're amazing people. Melissa with the energy team is a rock star. She understands the product. She understands the customers, and she understands how to connect them. So I would say yes, Tesla Energy, don't sleep on it.
Okay. All right. Well, speaking of Tesla Energy, though, and we know that this will never be a needle mover with, Tesla only making a few cents a kilowatt hour. But it would seem that it would be a way to create a huge convenience for Tesla drivers, as you mentioned, and help out these retailers, wholesalers, uh, 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 what do you call it, the restaurants and hoteliers, whether they're Airbnb or regular hotels. But it did make me think about Powerwall. I have often wondered why there isn't more commercial use of Powerwall. So we've got these mega packs that you're going to use to, be a part of the system in a large installation of any kind of electric power generation, but primarily solar and wind. And then you've got power walls for the home. I was sitting in a 25,000 square foot facility 25 years ago. I called a solar company to come in and give me a quote. Now it was a rental, so if I put it in, I better be sure I got a long lease. But I just was curious, what would be the return on investment? How fast could I pay it off if I did it? And it turned out it wasn't a very good deal. It was going to take, 17 years or 15 years or whatever. Now you add in 4 or 5 power walls in that same 25,000 square foot building, and maybe it pays for itself a lot faster. So what do you think? What's going on with commercial power walls, or do you have a clue? I'm sorry, I might have just asked you a question that you're not aware of at all.
What's a power wall?
What's a
No,
power?
so the problem with power walls is they're very expensive for the amount of power that you get. It would be much cheaper to just park a Cybertruck and use power share than to install that many power walls. You'd only get 32 amps out of it, or it might be 40 amps, somewhere around there, but not very many. So it's just expensive for what you get. And the power demands of a commercial location are such that you could drain a power wall much too quickly. If you were to try and keep the fridges on at a supermarket when the power goes out, it'd be cost prohibitive to have a sufficient number of power walls. I think that's the real obstacle there. And installing them is expensive. It's complicated. There's a lot of things that have to be done, and not just anyone knows how to do it. It's not like you can get your buddy who's pretty good at electric to do it in a way that won't burn down your home or business. So I think I'd say that's the disconnect on that.
I see. All right. Yeah, it's just something I'd like to look more into it. Not everybody's a big factory. You've got 25,000 or 10,000 or 5,000 square foot distributors. That they're just wholesalers, so they don't have they might have forklifts. But then you've got retailers that are, maybe in 2,500 square feet or something like that. You've got, restaurants. Now, restaurant, to your point, maybe the refrigerators would use a lot of energy. Anyway, it just seems like there's a business there. Maybe I'm completely wrong.
A lot of these businesses are also slow to make changes like that.
Yeah.
So it's tough to say. One thing I wanted to point out, and this is a question I'll be interviewing you about on my channel today or tomorrow, is that automotive profit was something like 1.6 billion last quarter, but the energy profit last quarter was like 1.1 billion. That's a pretty narrow gap between the two.
Yeah.
I don't know how much weight Wall Street is putting in the energy side of Tesla, but I would speculate it's probably not enough.
Right.
And of course, you see one analyst changes their price target to 509, and another analyst the next day says, "Oh, we adjusted ours to 508." Guys, this isn't Price is Right. I don't know what you're doing, but that is a Price is Right guess right there.
All right. Well, we'll certainly be talking about that. I did reduce my assumptions over the next 45 days to 600 rather than 750, with a continuing caveat that there has to be robotaxis without safety riders and a ramp to at least 1,500. Okay, on a completely different subject, Elon.
The ramp will also help them get airborne. I'm just
That's
saying.
true. That's true. 100%. On a
Hmm.
completely different subject, Elon made news last Friday regarding data centers in space and
Hmm.
building a chip fab. Teslarati did a story today which tried to say that the chip fab story is moving quickly. I've
Hmm.
seen no such news, and
I
they
have.
didn't really prove it in their story. And that's Teslarati is usually better than that. Anyway, but he earlier had said he might build a solar factory. Well, that could be a solar factory to make space-based solar, which would be probably a lot more profitable than making ground-based solar. And then now a chip fab. So between the solar-based, space-based solar, a chip fab, the ability to make satellites, and the ability to put those satellites in space between just two companies of Tesla, that seems like that could be a real good business.
It'd be an interesting business. I don't think it makes sense yet. On solar, why wasn't it mentioned? I did a whole show about why wasn't solar really mentioned in terms of manufacturing, which would be difficult, but not impossible. It's hard to do it profitably, but if tariffs are going to be steep, then the profit requirement isn't as great. In order to make it work, you can have higher prices. Then on the chip fab, I also haven't seen anything happening. It's entirely possible the Tesla Roddy author is not the one who wrote the headline, and that the headline was done by an editor who just wants the clicks. I haven't seen anything to indicate any steps have been taken, and chip fabrication is mind-bogglingly complicated. Entire countries have tried to get up to this scale without success. It is, well, yes, but Elon's really good at stuff. True, true. But the fact that we're struggling to scale 4680, the fact that Dojo was canceled means there are things that are sufficiently complicated that it doesn't make sense to continue pursuing them. Chip fabrication, I hope this was just a shot across the bow to tell the other guys, step up. If you don't step up, I will. What I would expect to see more of is like a partnership. Like, hey, Samsung, we're already working with you on the chip fab. Expand it. We'll help pay for it. We get all the chips we want out of it in exchange, something like that. And of course, Tesla engineers are already giving feedback and input to the engineers at Samsung to get the chip design the way they need it to for their use case. That's what I would expect to see more of rather than an outright chip fabrication. If you could succeed in that, stop making cars. You don't need to anymore. I mean, it's such a good business. Just do that. It's like when Toyota 5, 6 years ago, they were saying, oh, we have it. We have the solid state battery. It weighs a fraction. The volumetric density is huge. The gravimetric density is huge. It charges in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And it's going to cost, I said, if they had this, they would stop making cars and just be the world's largest battery supplier and make far, far more money. They don't have it. And turns out I was right. I could see the future
Yeah.
because this was not an announcement by Tesla Engineering. It was an announcement by Tesla or Toyota Engineering, but by Toyota Marketing. So, and on the space-based stuff, it's not about beaming the power back to Earth because, a little bit of
No, no, no.
it's about doing the compute in space. And there's just, there's we have a lot of room for solar on the ground that's a lot easier to work on, that isn't subject to micrometeorite strikes, that you can repair if you need to. I just don't know that there's an immediate need for something that complicated. I could see it being something they keep on the back burner as a consideration, but I think we're going to be able to meet our compute power requirements terrestrially.
So let me clap back on something you said a minute ago, though. I would agree with you that a normal company says, oh, we can make way more money making these batteries, so therefore we could stop making cars or sell off the car division. This is not a normal company. Elon is mission driven. Nobody else is mission driven like he's mission driven. And so we still have our insurance company. We still have our charging. I said, what, 2 years ago, I think you and I talked about the idea that they should sell off the charging division, or make it a separate company, make it a separate IPO so they could operate independently, because we're getting into the General Electric effect here, where we've got a conglomerate where some of the individual units would be worth way more if they were in fact independent. So, but Elon doesn't think that way. What he thinks of is, here's a human need. I can address the human need. And so I'm just going to go make it happen. And Brian Wang is pretty convinced that space is the answer for these data centers. In fact, he thinks the moon and Mars are better even than satellites. So I'm not sure that Elon would think, oh, let's stop making cars. He would just think, we really need compute. Here's a solution. We should at least start marching towards that solution.
Well, I wouldn't say that they would stop making cars. I was being hyperbolic
I
for
got
effect there, Randy, but there are objectives that are beyond the scope of Tesla's competencies to a degree that makes evident that they can't just do anything. Tesla Insurance is a good example. We've been working on this for how many years now? And it's still only in a handful of states. And I get it. Every state has their own regulations and they're very tricky and cumbersome on purpose. But with this many years passed and no real progress in quite a while, I have to wonder what is the obstacle? What is the objective? Elon had said, well, it's just all the paperwork. Paperwork don't take that long. It just doesn't. New insurance companies get approved.
corruption takes longer. We know in California.
If you can't roll out insurance nationwide, I don't know how much easier a chip fab is to build. And if you look at just how difficult it's been for TSMC and Samsung to get their chip fabs running in the US, it's hard. It's hard for the people who know how to do it. It's harder for the people who are trying to learn how to do it.
That does remind me, there was another story, just real quick here, another story that did pop out talking about getting the people. Elon just did or XAI, that part of the Elon world, just did a conference of some kind. I forget where it was. But the purpose of the conference was to really, do the recruiting thing again for XAI, where they were showing all the things that X is planning to do, that XAI is planning to do in the next year or so. And apparently they had the brightest minds in the country, the graduate engineers, whatever, the ones that are graduating at that thing. They were eager to fill out their applications. So this is a continuation of the Elonosphere ability to grab the top talent.
I would argue that they had most of the best and brightest, but I didn't see you there. So obviously there's some gaps.
I might have aged out, Brian. I'm not sure. I know I look young, but shooting for 18 or 19 or 22, some people would question whether I look that young.
I don't think you're telling the truth.
So Brian, give me the number one reason why people, and you can use your chapter as the example, the number one reason why people should buy the book, buy AI Rising. There's got to be, you're a major part of that book. You were an early chapter. What do you think is, going on? Why should they buy it?
Well, you should buy it because it is 10 different perspectives on the coming tidal wave of disruption that AI is bringing. It shows the brightest possible futures and, to an extent, the darkest possible futures. I don't know if anyone mentioned Skynet by name, but I did. So there are the other reason you'd want to buy it is if you enjoy what I do. My humor is absolutely in the book. My chapter was so good, Randy bumped it from late in the book to early in the book. And then at the end is a big Q&A where Randy asked some really insightful questions, and all of the authors were invited to answer as few or as many questions as they felt they had the passion and understanding to address. And as a result, we got some people answered, some questions only had a couple answers, some had more. And all of the answers that came back, I thought were very insightful. So if you want to be smarter, and I don't know if all of my viewers do, but I think some of them do, it's a good book.
All right. Thank you so much, Brian, for that lovely, lovely assessment. And so go out and buy the book. Brian, thank you, as always, for taking time out of your extremely busy road show down in Tampa, Florida, to be part of this channel. And to all of you out there, it has been amazing, fantastic, and even great talking to you.